in 2 seconds.
Well, you're wrong because we are live.
Take 2 steps and
How's
roll
everybody
credits.
doing out there? We are back. We're playing some more Stray. Hopefully, finishing this off tonight. I am a little gummied up at the moment, so we'll see how things go.
That was getting gummied up.
Yeah.
In a different sense.
That's a conjugal visit at the old folks home.
Right. And as you hear, I am not alone. I have Mr. Marvel 613, aka Kana, and I've got Basement with me too.
It's time to get wiki wild.
I love how the gummies apparently turn Heather Southern.
A little bit, yeah.
Got it all the way down to ticks.
Trying to
Let's all
find
be a cat. Let's all be a cat. Oh yeah, I remember this thing. This is fucking. Who designed a fucking bar? What are they drinking? I need to know what they're drinking. Oh, well, you're dead. It's gonna squish you.
What? The elevator made for cats? Oh, it's a dumb waiter. It's a dumb waiter.
Great time for the gummies to kick in.
Do you remember?
Cat is suffering from epilepsy for me.
Yeah.
Epilepsy.
Okay. Apparently, this is their party spot.
This is where the robots did blow. They sucked each other's tailpipes.
Y2K, bro. That
Yeah,
should be the
remember
name
how-
of their fucking dance hall or whatever the fuck this is. Y2K.
Oh my god.
Do you remember all the stickers that were on all the electronics when it was rolling around in 1999, 2000? Like, remember to protect your electronics from Y2K. I don't know what's funnier, the fact that like how people overreacted, or when you sat and thought about it, it's like, oh wait, all our machines aren't designed to handle a date change.
It's gonna roll over and not know what it's gonna be. I'm like, theoretically speaking, things might crash a little bit, but it's not like everything is going to explode.
98, 99. Well, Jim, what comes after 99?
0.
The end of the world.
Mother of, it's that scene from Super Troopers. Mother of God.
What does come after?
Is it 100? That's 3 digits, Jim. We can't do that.
For some reason, I was picturing like that fucking movie 2012 or 2012 or whatever with John Cusack and the world's exploding and they're driving a jeep or the van or some shit.
Uh-huh.
Gotta love those movies.
I miss the 90s.
I do too, to be honest.
A lot of things. I don't miss all of the 90s. I miss the music and the movies.
I don't miss the style. And
I do.
Like the people like Jenko jeans and like
I lived in those. Watch your mouth.
People that like look like they never showered.
I mean, I miss the 90s because I think
We still have that now.
It's a childhood thing too, where it's like, you know, life was simpler and all that fun jazz. Man,
That's more like I miss the mentality I had when I was younger, more than like the 90s themselves.
But my heart does grow fond for the 90s because, you know, obviously there are a lot of these
Where we all
great
grew
things
up.
in your it's these great things in your childhood that you like latch onto and you're like, man, I loved and you know, you get that rush of nostalgia whenever you know, you see something, you experience something. And shout out to all you awesome mofos in the chat. We got Alpha, we got Don't Die On Me, and Jurgen Muyen.
What I miss about the 90s more than anything was the fact that not everything was the same.
Yeah.
You know, like even like you had popular types of music of all brands. Everything just didn't turn into one type of music. Like now country is rap. Now rap is pop.
I get that one bit.
Now everything is pop. Yo pussy.
And I someone said it the other day. I think I saw it on a Facebook post. It's like, it's not so much that I'm nostalgic for the 90s, but I can certainly relate to Daria a lot more now than I did then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like Dead Inside.
that show is fucking hilarious. I went back and watched a couple episodes of it. And it's like, fuck, like how did I mean, it was just above my age grade where it was like the target. But going back and watching, like, fuck, this is hilarious.
Even I never really got into it too much. Personally.
All the adults are stupid. If you let me drink, I'll suck your dick.
I mean, the early 2000s were pretty good too. They weren't the 90s good, but they weren't terrible. They were slowly devolving into where it is now.
It's funny because like there was still a lot of early, like the 90s carried over into the early 2000s. I'd say for the first.
Like 2004.
4 or 5 years. I was gonna say, it was in that ballpark.
Still have remnants of the 90s.
I think I got it.
This game makes literally no sense.
Dead mouse.
More often, apparently.
I was programmed to dance. Dance only.
Suck your dick for a cat.
You pass the butter.
I love that shit. Oh my god. Yeah, welcome to... Did you see the new episode, by the way?
I have not.
It's
most shows I try to wait until like I got a couple, especially those kind of shows, because they're so short.
Well, there's
nice
lore,
kind of,
that's
like,
for sure.
it.
There's more lore developments.
One show I can't miss is She-Hulk. She's addicted to it.
Oh, good fucking god, man.
Actually, I don't even know what day it comes out on.
What's today? Tuesday going into Wednesday? Tomorrow. So Thursday morning at 3 a.m. Eastern. Jesus, I have the worst fucking heartburn. Oh my god, what the hell? What did I have? Oh, I had spicy chicken and rice. That would explain. This is why I can't do spicy shit, folks, is because my agita, my acid reflux.
I don't think I'm gonna watch the rest of She-Hulk until it's done, though. I'll give it
that
as a chance.
Yeah. If there's any show that I can advocate for waiting until it's completely out to watch for a Marvel show, it is fucking She-Hulk.
Yeah.
I have very little hope, but I will at least give it the last 6 episodes all at once. It's not terrible.
When you say it like that.
Hey, come on. You get 3 episodes, the stage should be set in some way.
Well, they sort of are.
Ah, the stage is terrible. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I'm not defending it for I'm just saying is
Instead we can talk about fucking
Abraham Willy Wonka over here.
CM Spunk.
Oh god. And the goddamn fool he made out of himself with the media scrum?
Do we wanna do this you know what, fuck it, we'll do that. Well, I don't give a shit, we'll do this now.
You know there's gonna be more that comes out by the time No Bugs Given hits, so we can talk about it now and then still have some new information later.
Yeah, that's true. Like the other shoe still needs to drop. All we know is it's still mostly speculation, from my understanding. Though a lot of the fact that it's legit is much more confirmed. I'm thinking.
Why do they bind the mouth?
For pleasure.
I thought I was torturing him.
Oh god, look at this thing. It's fucking S&M.
Fucking rhinestone cowboy.
I thought it was like a attempt at a handlebar mustache.
It doesn't have a mouth. Why can it not speak?
Rope, duh.
True.
The CM Punk thing is, you know, it's funny. I was a big fan of him, and then over the years, it's just gone
downhill.
Yeah, and it's harder and harder to defend him. On one hand, as far as what he said, he's not totally wrong in terms of feeling the way he felt. The fact that he has to talk about this kind of bullshit, it is bullshit. So I can't disagree with him on that. However, there's a time and a place, man. That was not issue. That was the not like fucking. I get his frustration, or I shouldn't say I get it. I can understand to a degree his frustration with the situation of like the shit's being brought up again and again and again, and he fucking had to call it out. Cool, awesome. Do it on your fucking Twitter on your own time. You literally just came off of a pay-per-view where you won the world championship and had a pretty massive ovation that MJF returned and booed your ass out of Chicago of all places. That's some. You have a huge opportunity to really start making this thing go for gold here, and you spent, what was it, the whole scrub, talking about this stupid, like, his gripe with the EVPs. From what I understand, there was an altercation afterwards. Apparently the Bucks did, from what I hear, the Bucks did confront him, and I believe Punk threw the first punch, which that's
not good.
And I have to stress, this is all alleged. I don't know shit. I haven't confirmed shit until, I have the same sources as everybody else nowadays, because but I do have a few friends here and there. But if it's true, he's fucked. And it's, I think, was it Sean Ross Sapp said, like, it's either going to be he's done or he has to do some heavy apologizing in order to make amends, which
not character to kind of do that.
Not only that, I think the damage is already done, and I think that fine if Punk's frustrated and whatever and doesn't want to be there. Goodbye. We don't need him at this point.
You know what's funny? I'm waiting for somebody to like insert him into the boys and be like, Punk, you have become a toxic personality.
Yeah.
Because oh my god, it's like my thing is, and this is what I kind of wish could happen. If this is the case, and everything is real, and he kind of like full on took over the show at the very end. And the problem is with something like that, yeah, they'll make the headlines and stuff, but I'm tired of this saying like all press is good press.
Oh no.
Maybe if you're looking for like a punch in popularity for the moment, but certain things people won't forget, and certain things people will look at you as, you're already not looked at as a very professional company. And this is just icing on the cake. So like what I'm trying to get to is, if he goes and does this, outside of just firing the guy, I wish there was some sort of like fine system. Like, we spent $5 million to get your ass here, or whatever it was.
Something has to happen, because Eddie Kingston was suspended for 2 weeks because of a like mini scruffle altercation between him and Sammy Guevara. So he was suspended for 2 weeks for less. And okay, let me just be very blunt. If Tony Khan does not do something to CM Punk,
what's Tony Khan gonna do? He's such a fucking wet pussy.
I'm giving him, for me personally, it's we'll wait and see how things go tomorrow. If Tony Khan does not do anything in regards to Punk, and I do mean anything in terms of like a suspension or a fine or forcing an apology, anything, then people, whoever is listening to us on this random Tuesday stream playing Stray, get out of there, because it's not good at all, because it shows the favoritism. It shows that he does not give a shit about the, whether you like the Bucks, Omega, or Page, and you don't. They were the cornerstones of the company in terms of the original being built. And Kitty Cat's gonna get killed. It's a horrible PR look if he does nothing about Punk, and it sends a message to the locker room that, like,
you can do whatever you want, you can get away with it.
He's not the guy to run a company like that. He's not a guy. I don't look at Tony Khan and everything I've seen from him and think leadership. I really don't.
100% agree.
He's a kid with a play chest filled with figurines. That's what I see, and he's having his run. Unfortunately, like, a lot of these guys are fucking, like, because there's popular figures in the media, you got a lot of big egos, and you got a lot of big egos that you need to feed and restrain. So if you can't do that, this is why, like, people like all the time will shit on Vince McMahon, but at the same time he kept his house in order.
Yeah, there's you can say shit about Vince, and trust me, there's a lot of shit to say about Vince. But yeah, at least at the end of the day, the buck starts there. But all I'm saying is that if there are no ramifications for CM Punk following what happened on Sunday,
you don't want to work in that place like that.
No,
it's
not
terrible.
At all.
It's a very telling and a very bad sign, because what that does is it shows not only that, but also shows that like Tony Khan does not know what the F he's doing.
He can be used and abused by his own talent. There's no
Exactly.
leadership at all.
That was already kind of a joke as it was, in terms of like him hugging everybody, which, you know, I get it, the man's emotional, whatever, he's passionate, that's fine.
He's a super fan with a lot of money. That's what I see, and it's time and time again.
Right, it's the perception, and a lot of times, as we know, in wrestling especially, whether it's a work or a shoot, perception is often seen as reality. So it's one thing to lean into it for the sake of storyline and stuff, but like that, I mean, it's not a good look at all. And it'd be different if AEW was in a different state on either spectrum, meaning like it was still just relatively new, starting out ish, or if it was much further down the road and more well established, and then had a better track record. But this is no bueno. I thought you were gonna die there, Heather.
I thought so too for a second.
It's very it's interesting. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen. Jurgen says in the chat, CM Punk needs to be suspended for what he did in the Bucks and Kenny Omega. I've heard some rumblings. Oh, well, you're dead.
The thing is, I find certain levels of this could have been very entertaining if done correctly.
Yeah.
Like blurring the lines between reality and blurring the lines between reality and working an angle is really good on this level if they're able to accomplish it. But when nobody knows and it's never really like revealed to the audience, and it's always like left up to chance, the people are almost going to be like assuming the house is on fire.
Right.
And when it is on fire, like we believe it is now, it's a constant like bad look from, and I would say like if it ever comes to the point of like investors and anything like that outside of just Tony Khan, and especially if you're like looking at the networks that are hosting them, it's like, man, we're getting all these like things saying you guys are fucking blowing up and showing the fact that like you've got a bunch of fucking high schoolers running the company, people with high school mentality.
Yeah.
I never understood the working the boys mentality is what you're basically referring to, and I never understood that because it just sends a negative precedent. It also sends a big sign of mistrust. Jesus, I came back at the right time.
So you have to have it like believable, but not like insulting to the fan base and themselves. If that makes sense.
It's not hard to do.
They've shown that they go too far most of the time anyway. Like AEW is, they're a step beyond in terms of like they want to be as extreme as possible in today's wrestling climate, with the fighting and with the bleeding, with the weapons, and with the storyline choices, and kind of like it's so opposite of kind of how they sold themselves to begin with, which was going to be like an all-inclusive wrestling type thing.
That's the problem, is that when they say all-inclusive, it's like we're going to do everything, and they don't know. What
they sold themselves on, they're not even really fucking doing.
Well, give me a 5-year plan. What is your 5-year plan? Like what is your trajectory as far as like what are you looking to do? Are you looking to elevate like I just feel like things are just kind of floating.
It feels like that with the booking, and every time I've seen anything about AEW, and don't get me wrong, I don't watch the wrestling product, but I have it like fed to me through Twitter most of the time.
Same. Yep.
I've never seen like every single fucking match or press conference they do, or people talking, they're always bleeding. It's like they're always like doing the most job. Yeah, it's everything like that loses its special touch when it happens on every fucking night they wrestle. And then how are you ever gonna one up yourself? By doing crazy shit like this? And if this is like, this should be the craziest thing that happens in the company. If it doesn't end up being like a work, it should be the craziest thing that happens in the company. But the company's how old?
Right.
Oh shit! How old is it?
It's not that old, and you got to keep going up. You know, like you have to temper expectations.
But like, okay, and this is just we were talking about this before with the GM mode stuff, which is why it's so much fun to do the GM mode stuff, because it's like we all sit here and like, no, we're gonna fucking do it better, and you know what? We do it better. I'll be the first to admit that like, not all of us have good weeks because AI, but like we all have our own ideas and we all have our own plans and strategies. Like I joked and said like I was booking week to week for a while, but for the most part, I think each one of us. I can't speak for Rayshawn too much because he's he doesn't communicate as in depth as we do with each other. But like each one of our own shows, I would like you guys have long term ideas, long term goals, even if they're just like a little bit out. It's not like the sporadic.
You have to work within the framework of the game, so you can't book like you don't have absolute control like a wrestling company would. Right. But you have enough control to bring forward creative match ideas or creative matchups or things that would be at least more exciting in terms of like tournaments, or we're going to have, if this person wins this many in a row and if they can do it, if not, like, like certain things that freshen the product as much as you can, where I just don't see, like AEW seems to be like everybody's going to face each other 1,000 times. And we introduce win-loss records. They don't mean anything. It's a bunch of like false promises. It seems like. I know a lot of people love the product, and it all depends on what type of wrestling you like. I personally, my favorite type of wrestling that I've seen in the modern era of wrestling was the old NXT, the black and gold. I think they did the perfect balance of in-ring and out-of-ring activity, and the in-ring work was very solid, and whoever was actually not just booking but like scripting the matches was on point. Then you look at things like what happened in AEW, and it's like there's a lot of botches, there's a lot of like spots that are just suspend disbelief because someone's going to stand there for 10 hours waiting for someone to somersault into them. It's just like I'm sorry, half the time it's fucking gymnastics, not wrestling. Gymnastics with people cutting themselves.
Which is the way I like it. But no, I mean, I like the point is I just think that I'm right there with it. The priorities are not there, and just it's bad if this is a beautiful dumpster fire. If it goes that way, which there's a chance it could.
I'm thinking though, like the buck stops at leadership. The leadership is terrible. It seems like in that entire company. I don't know if there is like an actual leadership.
There isn't. It's tell. Like Tony Khan's the one who's putting all the money into this and all the work, so to speak. And you see how he is with the press conference.
Everything else seems to be like done by committee of the people that are the top talent, I guess. Which is like how that's gonna go.
Yeah.
Like you've got, let's say you have Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, like back in that era, you got those people fucking running the show. Good lord.
I mean, even if Paige, the Bucks, and Kenny had the best interest and the best hearts for it, I knew, and I think you and I talked about this basement before, way back when, the concept of putting them in there as the EVP, it's like only a matter of time before that something's going to happen, whether their fault or not. Right. Where
no matter what, it's a lose-lose situation. Yeah. And that's what they're in right now. I mean, if this is all to be taken the way it's to be taken, it's 100% lose-lose. Because you either get rid of CM Punk, suspending him, depending on suspension level, might not send the right message because you're going to still encounter the same problems when he returns. You have to suspend him and then slowly just never return him, which is basically firing him, which is a bad look because it's a huge misstep financially and a huge misstep that's very visual to your fan base. If you do anything against the actual rest of the crew, then the whole identity of AEW is gone.
Yep.
It's like you're taking a big hit because of fucking
corner now by somebody that's supposed to be his employee.
Like CM Punk, I said this too with his return. I'm like, what would be best for business in general would be CM Punk returning for one last run in WWE for 1 year, where he comes back and fights the company that did him wrong, and then he's gone. Him coming back and being like a stutter stop in AEW, they didn't know what they were doing with him. He was a good guy, then he was a bad guy, then they wanted to use him to put people over, but that's not going to be him. He just, like, the more you see of him, the more you see him, and it's bad.
Very.
The ROI on him is not worth it long term. It's just not.
There is no return on investment. The guy's fucking 45 years old, and
no,
like
if they used him more like, and I know you're gonna like people are gonna roll their eyes because it feels like
use him like an Edge almost.
Draw. Well, I was gonna say like a Lesnar deal, like the early Lesnar deal, where like you only bring him in for certain shows and certain segments, and using him sparingly. That's the way I would.
Like, I'd rather do what they did with Edge. Edge has been kind of sparing too, but the reason he can't do what he did with Lesnar, he doesn't have the act like the acclaim that Lesnar has. He doesn't have the draw power, the acclaim that Lesnar has.
But I'm saying is you could at least. Let's face it, the biggest pop he ever got in AEW and will ever get is his debut. Yeah. So the concept is that you want to keep that energy for as long as humanly possible, obviously. And the more you expose it, the more it's gonna thin out. And that goes for almost anybody. At a certain caliber, a certain level. But I don't know. It's not good. I think honestly,
this angle could have worked if it was Punk next to go against the establishment, which is basically Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, the people that are in, the EVPs that are basically the Coleman. Together they become Vince McMahon, because Tony Khan going against him might as well beat up a fucking kid with polio.
Right.
It's just not going to work out.
No, and the fact that he's sitting there in that same scrum with fucking CM Punk trying to wag his tiny dick on him.
I don't know why he has to be there with everybody. It's like
it's so weird. He's sitting there throwing around the fact that I got more money than they do. No, you don't.
That was such a weird comment to me.
When Tony Khan got pissed off.
Yeah.
I don't have to take this shit. It's like, what are you talking? Take what shit? What do you like? That if he's gonna say you can't be on the same time as I am, I mean, we've all had this conversation about YouTube, and eat my fucking ass first of all.
By the way, I looked it up.
He did the exact same thing he went on fucking same time as NXT, didn't he?
AEW?
Yeah.
So okay, the whole war shit that's just like fucking. It really is, because you're comparing apples to oranges in so many ways. Like, obviously AEW chose Wednesday nights. Maybe it wasn't even their call. Maybe it was TBS and TNT and Turner's, because obviously Turner has.
I wish they didn't play it up like it.
Well, of course they're gonna fucking play it up like that, because that's AEW's old, their whole twist on it. But
repertoire for everything.
It's right. Also setting yourself up for a hefty loss is what they did.
It's just like, stay in your fucking lane. Like chill. You're doing, at the time you were doing pretty decent stuff. Like, you're getting an audience. Like,
this is how, like, the companies that can't be killed. Like those wrestling companies that live forever, they don't compare themselves to shit. They just keep plugging away. You're gonna have an audience if your wrestling is good enough to have an audience. Let the fucking product speak for itself. But they're so, like, you basically, at the same time as you make these hardcore fanboys that are just the worst, you make hardcore enemies of your product, because of the way you're dividing a fan base online, and now you have to deliver time in, time out, and cutting yourself open and flipping 800 times isn't always what people call delivering.
What's up, Paul and Alpha in the chat too? Appreciate you guys popping on in. Alpha says, plus the company itself does the same shit exactly in the same format as WWE does. They're a little bit different, but it's really not. It's really not at the end of the day. But just the whole. I don't know, this is one of the many reasons why I stopped attaching myself to this. Is just
wrestling. It's so infuriating.
Look, every fan base is going to have some toxicity to it, but I don't know, man. Wrestling one is like bad sometimes.
But it's also built upon not knowing anything.
Yeah. And frankly, it's so bad.
And I started to fall into like the fucking the mindset of like what my priorities were, and it.
Well, the problem with the wrestling fan base is it comes to a point where it's not even about fucking wrestling.
No, it's about it's a dick measuring contest.
And like we're doing the Marvel Roundtable now, and there's certain things I'll say, like I mean, like I've talked a couple times now about She-Hulk, and I don't think it's a very good product, and that's fine. We'll get to a point where we review it, but then we'll watch something like Shang-Chi, and I'll give it its praise. This is something that is sorely lacking from the wrestling community, because a good product, if it's not the product I want to fucking put a cape on for, I am going to hate it. And I'm going to
we talked about that with Miss Marvel.
So
we're like, we understood when we saw it, it's like, okay, that's clearly not for us.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm
not gonna hate on it if like some kid likes it. That's fine. And when I watch it, I will review it more for what it is, like what kind of how good it is, if what it's trying to do. So like She-Hulk, I said it so far. I've been saying it's kind of like touted its horn as being an Ally McBeal serial type show, and for me it's failing at doing what it said it was supposed to do, beyond failing on a larger scale. Miss Marvel, when I get to it, we'll see. I know it's like a teenage drama more than anything.
It definitely plays on those tropes, yeah, but I'll be honest, Miss Marvel really surprised me, more so because, and I almost guarantee it's gonna be, and this is why I say She-Hulk, give it a chance, is because Miss Marvel was the same way for me. Because when I watched Miss Marvel, I got to the 3rd episode, I'm like, oh boy, this is definitely not like, not that I hate it, but it's not for me. Clearly, it is not for the straight white 35-year-old male, which is fine. I appreciate them like diversifying characters to an extent, same with Moon Knight and other ones, and blah blah blah.
I mean, I can watch a character I don't identify with. It is like all the tropes behind it, and like some things are just made for a younger audience. But I want to do like this is like the comparison I was trying to make with wrestling, where I can say for the longest time, I'm not going out there and fucking trashing AEW left, right, and center. I knew I gave it a chance. It wasn't really for me. WWE got to a point where they weren't for me either. And what did I do? I just stopped watching it.
Yep.
But you can't get away from it, because if you have social media, if you've ever liked something and had social media, you will be part of whatever happens to that product for the rest of your fucking life. Because there's no way to like eliminate it from yourself in any way.
They figured at least if I'm going into the Marvel stuff, at least there's Disney. But my point was like the Miss Marvel stuff I was just gonna say was like it stuck the landing for me in terms of like I didn't Oh, I thought you were dead there on that one.
I did too.
I thought you were fubbernucked. But I don't know. It just got so draining, and it. And, you know, I always love wrestling. You know, it's not that I'll never like, oh, I hate it, but sometimes you get so swept up into it, and social media certainly hasn't helped. That it gets exhausting. And when you're enjoying something when you're trying to enjoy something that you enjoy, that is exhausting, and it becomes a chore, which God knows when I was doing the coverage of it, it became that several times more than it needed to. I'm out. I'm good.
I agree. If it comes down to it, that if I'm going to stream the reviews for these shows, and not only do I have to have basically a show every week to keep up with everything, but it's also just emotionally draining on me because I have to sit there and actually watch something I don't want to watch. Yeah, I'm not.
It's horribly time consuming, and you add that with the fact that the fan base online doesn't really, they're not as into the product as they are into the drama the product produces.
Sorry, I forgot to show the shoulders.
Those bad boys away. And then you have it's not just the fan base thing, like companies like, and I gotta pinpoint AEW have fully bought into this online fight of bullshittery, and it just hurts the product again and again. Like, everything is just tearing down wrestling for me in every way. Like, you can't just watch the show and enjoy or dislike it. You have to also deal with the aftermath of it all and the drama of it all. I don't even know what the fuck happened on the pay-per-view outside of what it put a fuck, my mouth is exploding. It cast a shadow over the entire show that the most important thing was CM Punk exploding in an after interview.
So this is the problem with CM Punk, man.
It's a problem with AEW as well, man.
I mean, okay, so while Tony Khan doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, he thinks he knows how to book a show, but he don't. I mean, how hard is it to book a? I mean, yes, he's putting. How do I say this?
Talent level they have, it's hard to book a bad show.
Yes. So, I mean, CM Punk is, you can make money off of it, which Tony Khan is.
You have to kind of also control him.
Say it again? I did.
You have to control him.
You do.
You have to have a little control over all of the talent that you have, or else.
I mean, unless he's playing WWE 2K22 in real life, which is possible in some ways. In terms of
that's what he's doing.
Yeah, he's dropping a steel chair at the entrance.
I honestly think he is doing what we do on Fridays, and is putting it out.
Well, then again, I mean, he's dropping a steel chair at the entrance ramp during a run-in. So.
I just don't get, like, they just had a pay-per-view. They had the return of someone that everybody wanted to see, and he's talking about fucking Colt Cabana, something that has nothing to do with the show.
That's CM Punk.
That is the biggest problem.
That is CM Punk, though. He did this shit in WWE. He thinks he's dropping pipe bombs.
Yeah, but the thing is, if I had no online sense and I was just watching AEW to watch AEW, and I'm like, oh, they're wrestling, and he starts talking about fucking Colt Cabana, first of all, with their audience, I'd probably be like, who the fuck is that?
Well, Colt was there before, but regardless,
for like 10 seconds, I think.
But like, he says he's all about doing business. Well, then fucking promote what the fuck just happened instead of talking about this shit. Like, yeah, okay, you feel like you need to address it. Understand, frustrated. Yeah, I get where he's coming from, but there's a time and a place, my dude. Like, this is not the time and a place to fucking do it.
This is the same, and I'm gonna make a link here. This is the same thing that's pissing me off about certain, like, just sport. When players take their pedestal and speak about their own personal issues after, like, a basketball game or a baseball game or a football game, it's like there's a time and a place, and people are there to watch the sport and enjoy that more than they're there to hear about something that happened off the court, far away from it. And it's like that is the reason I stopped watching most sports, and the reason I stopped watching wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you tune in to Horny Goat General Manager Mode this coming Friday, so where you can see us get all our frustrations out as we have arguably better pay-per-view. As we
You're not wrong, because we can't cut promos. So
I trust my guys to cut promos.
The thing
Just for
is,
guys to walk down to the fucking ring.
until AEW can honestly, and their fans can honestly accept the fact that it's sports entertainment, AEW will decline. They're going to start losing viewers. They're going to start losing viewership. Well, no, they're actually increasing their viewership. If CM Punk gets fired, their viewership will decline.
It'll be a brief dip. And Basement, you want some coleslaw? Cora is offering you some coleslaw.
I know, she was gonna sign me up for coleslaw of the month, and all I could think of is, man, I'd rather eat shit.
I
hate coleslaw too.
Oh man.
I feel like AEW, like I don't think you were here for it, JP, but like we basically said AEW's, and if everything turns out to be the way it's said to be so far, it's a no-win situation for them.
And it's all Tony Khan's fault. I blame Tony Khan.
He's leadership, but it's
Well,
not
no,
good
it's not that I hate
leadership.
AEW. In fact, if anything, they have what's up, Cody? If anything, they have a fantastic roster. They have a very fucking good roster if you really look at it.
Oh
The
man,
only
I
thing
was excited about AEW when it started, and I agree with you. Fantastic roster. It's just I don't like the way they manage everything.
the scale is a little bit off in terms of the X stars versus the newbies. I think, and it's just my opinion, but I think they're slowly getting better at it. But I mean, there's certain concepts like the trios title is very interesting to me. I'm not gonna lie. But there's just things about it that just throw. It's the same thing with WWE. There's things about WWE that I like, and there's things about it I don't like. Not that I hate the company, but it's just that I think as far as this particular situation with Punk, the ramifications or lack thereof for his actions are going to be very interesting, and it's going to be sending a pretty big message, depending on what Tony Khan does or doesn't do.
I also think it's like with AEW, and WWE has done this in the past, but AEW is like a serial fucking repeat offender. The promises versus actions, like it's always like, hey, we just signed this person that left WWE. They're gonna, and everyone's, oh, they're gonna do better in AEW. Nope, they disappear. Nope, they disappear, and there's no like accountability. It seems like it's the idea that like a lot of the fan base will treat the products very differently when it comes to accountability. Like WWE, from what I see, WWE a misstep is a nuclear bomb. AEW a misstep is an opportunity to fix it. It's so much more optimism in AEW, though. Man, they've pretty much flat out lied to their fan base.
Big time.
Of course they have. But again,
WWE has too, though. We're gonna make things different. We're gonna listen to you. That was horseshit.
Oh, you're wrong. You know where WWE continually having Roman Reigns beat people.
Yeah. The thing is, if you're gonna have your main eventer kind of hold the title for a very long time, and I think they did this. I didn't see the pay-per-view, but it seems like a lot of people like the mid-card match with Sheamus. This is kind of, you have to build up your mid-card really strong and have it probably be a bit almost as exciting as your main event if you're gonna have your main eventer hold the title.
Well, Triple H, if you think about Triple H, there was a time where nobody thought Triple H was any more than a mid-carder. Look at where he did.
I think it's also like putting, like, I mean, there's certain people that need to, and it's not the people, it's the company needs to give them the next step. I think Kevin Owens would be a very good champion if they gave him the right change in character.
I think they're starting to.
I think you're going to see a lot of the guys.
I still think that Austin Theory will catch in and win at some point.
Oh, he will.
People don't like him. I'm like, you can hate on him, but he's gonna win the title. He is their future.
I think
he's gonna win the title at some point. He's still pretty young.
Yeah,
he's a character away, and a lot of guys are like that.
Methinks Cody will be the one to take Roman's.
I don't. Do you really want to have Roman Reigns be a champion for 9 more months? Because that's how long Cody's going to be out for. He's going to be out for another 9 months.
I mean, right now he's the record holder, right, for the longest reign.
Holy shit, that was fucking close.
No.
He's not?
No. You need the longest reigning champion in WWE?
Is he holding 2 titles, or did they unify it?
It's 2 titles, but it's the undisputed champion.
It's fucking weird. It's a weird. Technically, it's one unified championship because it's being defended once, but they could literally split it anytime they fucking want to because it's WWE. But
is he holding the record for holding something for a certain amount of time?
The Universal.
Yeah, okay.
That's it. Just the Universal. Like Bruno Sammartino held the title for 7 years.
Yeah, we don't. I don't think anybody wants to see that though.
Well, a combined 7 years. It was 4 and 3, but still.
Either way.
But also,
Chubby, right the ass.
They didn't have the amount of product
and title defenses. Right? What's that? Bruno held the belt for 4 years. How many times did he defend it? 5. No, but in all seriousness, no, he holds the record for having the length is more tied to the Universal Championship, but the Universal Championship is part of the unified titles that he holds now. But he's still holding both belts. He's known as the undisputed Universal Champion. So take your fucking pick on that one.
Well, who would you pick to dethrone him? You're going to stick with Cody Rhodes and have him hold it for another 9 months?
For right now, Cody makes the most sense as far as stars, because there's no one else really. Drew would have been at the Clash of the Castle would have been the moment. Would have been the moment to do that.
I think Karrion Kross.
I would also agree with Karrion Kross. Never got a strong run in WWE. Relatively fresh. He's got the good look, good character. Drew McIntyre would have to have undergone a character change, or else risk becoming very boring very fast as a champion.
But I don't think he would have held the title very long. I think they would give him a run that he didn't get.
Hell, shit! I thought Drew was gonna win, and then Theory would cash in.
I think whoever wins next, you're gonna have a series of relatively short runs. After a long run, it's almost the case.
Although, you know what? To be honest with you, I kind of want Roman to hold onto the belt until at least Mania, and the reason why, give me that high-profile match that we think is that might be happening. I think story-wise and hype-wise going into it, even though we already would kind of know who would win at the match, fuck it, give me Rock and Roman for the belts at Mania.
No, I don't know about Rock and Roman. The Rock wins the title. It'll kill me.
No, I'm not saying he would, obviously.
You can do the feud at WrestleMania, but it doesn't need to be for the title.
No, it doesn't need it, but I think it would make it intriguing.
Okay, another question I have for you guys. Would you be okay if Roman dropped the title without technically getting pinned in like a multi-man match?
Yeah.
Or does he need to be pinned at this point in the run?
No, you could still go the route of him not being the one pinned, so you could protect him, just have him do that whole...
Well, that's what they should have done with Austin Theory. They should have had Austin Theory be the one that pinned Drew McIntyre. That would have made more sense than the way it ended. I mean, it's a very good match. I just didn't care for the way it ended.
For me personally, if they're going to go, and I'm looking at this with not a huge amount of understanding of the way wrestling is now, just a vague understanding of the characters. Austin Theory, if he does cash in and win the championship, I'd prefer him to end up being aligned with the other group or something. Like, I know there's that group that Finn Balor's part of.
No, I don't want him part of the Judgment Day.
I just don't want him to be his character the way it is now and be champion.
With Emo Mysterio. The only reason I personally would not be a big fan of the triple threat scenario where he loses it without getting pinned or submit, and this is the only reason, is because they're touting the title length of the title reign for so long. Like, obviously, when someone beats Roman for it, it's going to be a big fucking deal, and I get that the triple threat, or whatever, a survival match where he's against the odds, and, it's a good loophole or workaround, and it works in some situations where you want to get to a certain end result.
Although
but just...
I think Cody's done pretty good. I don't think he's that guy.
I'm just saying right now. The only other person
right now.
the the only other person I could think of.
Carrying Cross, man.
I mean, I would not be opposed to Cross at all.
Well, one more question: does he come out with 2 belts still?
Yes.
Yeah.
So do you think he's
Keep
gonna?
them
I think
together.
he'll hold the
together.
fucking title until the titles are split up again.
Well, the only way that's going to happen is if he loses.
Keep them together, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, you could technically, if you're gonna, through fucking the bullshit that WWE is capable of doing, you could have him only defending the blue brand title in this match.
It gets confusing. It gets too confusing too. If you want to like try to.
I personally think there should only be one world champion.
Agreed.
I hate the idea of 2 world champions in general.
I don't mind the idea of 2 world champions, but it's the same thing I've said before about any fucking championship. You can have as many titles as you want, as long as there is enough depth in those divisions to warrant the value.
Do you know where
Right.
WWE failed with these titles? They tried to make them different.
Yep.
What I mean by that is they called one a Universal title and one a World Heavyweight title. I don't like that.
I think that
a World Heavyweight title and the next title in line.
I wouldn't even call it a World Heavyweight. I wouldn't even call it a World Heavyweight title.
I prefer the brand split. I mean, I know this is gonna fucking, it's not perfect, but the original brand split was so much better. Especially even them splitting the world championships, because you had a WWE champion, like a company champion, and a world heavyweight champion. And yeah, you can get into semantics about like weight classes and bullshit like that. But as far as splitting 2 major championships and having them as close to the same value as humanly possible, that was as good as it was going to get. Because the Universal and the WWE, it's just like you're at an instant disadvantage if you're trying to like make a world title out of basically fucking scratch.
See, I don't think they have like when you look at all the titles that exist, I don't think they have the roster to do all of them justice.
Agreed.
I would have gone with the world title as number 1. The second title is the Intercontinental title. If you have SmackDown on Raw, one's on one, one's on the other, or they're both on both, whatever you want to do. I prefer the separation just because of the roster size.
Yep.
And then because the world title is going to be featured less on regular television, you put like the women's title on that show, or you put the women, if you want to do a women's tag team, you put it on that show. Like some because you're going to have titles featured more week to week, where the world to make up for the world heavyweight being missed. And the IC title can be built up to be like the co-main event, not co-main event, but like the secondary match people look forward to at Mania, and go back to one night, please God.
Which is what they, I noticed they started to try. They're trying to do with the United States Championship on Raw, which is smart. It's smart of them to try to do that, because if Roman's only being featured on SmackDown, you want like, I heard through the grapevine that they made this like nice video package to highlight the importance of both the United States and the Intercontinental Championships on both shows, which is something so simplistic and so great to remind the audience why. What's that? Oh yeah, fucking absolutely. But you know, and they're trying to do justice by these mid-card titles. That's why, you know, putting the belt on Lashley I thought was a smart move. Having some pretty solid matches from what I saw with, I think, Ciampa and Styles, and it's like they're trying. It's not, you know, they're putting more effort into it in the last fucking 3 years combined.
To honestly, the mid-card titles, the IC title, and I guess the US Championship, there too. Those titles to me have the most versatility of storytelling, of people that could perform in the matches, and like they should be like, to me, like, you want a good fucking show opener, US title, right? But it has to be worth something, and it has to be on someone that's worth something. Not everybody can be in the world event picture. Usually, it's only 2 people. And like, you need the other guys to get something. And for the longest time, like, this is what happens when you create 2 world titles. The 2 titles below that mean absolutely fucking nothing.
Hello me. Ha!
But yeah, it's
the fucking celebrity Jeopardy.
we could probably talk wrestling for like 7,000 years.
Oh,
I could talk
wrestling?
wrestling for 7,000 years, even though I don't even fucking watch it anymore.
Wait, who's okay, Fit?
Who am I?
Who am I?
I just, people they don't, I just don't, it's hard for me to explain it. I've said it so many times. It's not that I don't like, WWE and AEW have killed wrestling. They have.
Yeah, I think wrestling dying.
They
I
have
think
just
WWE killed wrestling.
well,
territories.
and I partially blame both companies, but the ones that are really killing wrestling are these fans that, fuck Vince. I'm all about AEW, and fuck AEW. I'm all about WWE.
So the internet, basically.
It's tribalism on the internet. That's
It is, and it's disgusting.
a lot of entertainment in general.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, you can enjoy something, but on the internet, as soon as you go there, there'll be 1 trillion reasons why you shouldn't, and 1 trillion reasons why you should technically feel like you're going to war for a product. It's like, come on, man. All they do is fucking make money and put on entertainment. It's not that serious.
Yeah.
This is better maintained.
They've got worker bots.
Yeah.
Better ingredients, better pizza.
Greens and
That's
Papa
what she
John's.
said.
I've never had Papa John's.
It's pretty it's all right.
I don't mind it.
By the way,
When it comes to
greetings
the
inhabited
chain
is what I said
pizzas,
mid
I
coitus.
prefer Papa John's. I prefer Little Caesars.
make up.
Oh,
yeah.
we got one right down the street.
Coitus.
What?
I heard mid-coitus, and that's it.
Yeah, I said greetings inhabited is what she says when I'm mid coitus.
She says Papa John mid-coitus. She screams it almost.
Well, I clearly know what I want. My post coitus meal.
Moist coitus. My moist coitus when I'm extra moist.
Easy for me to say.
Yeah, we'll see what
I'm
the
the
fall is.
moistest with the moistest.
Oh, gross guy. See what all the fallout is for this AEW stuff. I mean, it was only a matter of time. It was like it was like the gas was leaking in the house and you're just waiting for someone to like let a match.
Yep, and here comes Punk lighting the pipe bomb.
Well, that's what he is good for. He thinks he is there to drop pipe bombs and get ratings. That's it. That is all that Punk thinks he's there for. And apparently he thinks he's a good wrestler.
The funny part is, sorry, go ahead.
He's not bad, but he isn't that fucking great. I don't even think he's worthy of a world title, to be honest.
I 100% agree with you on a wrestling basis. Because I was absent from wrestling, right? And I came back after the pipe bomb happened. So I was kind of like, I watched that in retrospective, and everyone's like, "Oh, pipe bomb was awesome. Pipe bomb was awesome." I saw the pipe bomb, and I'm like, "Okay, well, that's interesting for sure because it's a different take on wrestling and everything." Then I went back and saw some of his matches, and I'm like, "Man, this guy is mid-tier wrestler."
The only thing he was good at was cutting a promo, and he is one of the better promo guys. He is.
Yeah.
But he's not, which is why he's in the world title picture, is because he can cut a promo. He can build the match through promo, but once the match happens, it's like every other match he's ever had. It's the same with Dean Ambrose or Jon Moxley, whatever the fuck you want.
Oh, Dean Ambrose is worse than CM Punk.
I agree.
In terms of, on both levels.
Yes.
I agree.
So, a couple little tidbits about the Punk stuff, just because I did want to pull up some interesting and just see like if there's any latest updates or anything like that, or even some rumors. Eric Bischoff said flat out, he's like, fire him. In his opinion, he's like, he's paying, referring to Tony Khan, he's paying he's paying CM Punk a fortune, and CM Punk is cutting his balls off, not only in front of everybody else in the roster, the executive team, the production team. Oh, by the way, his business partners, like Warner Discovery, potential advertisers, potential sponsors, maybe if need be a potential network to sell their show, to do something, should something go wrong with the Warner Discovery merger, for what reason?
That's what I'm saying. There's got to be more than just firing. If he puts a bunch of financial options, it's just like Ezra Miller going out and fucking going crazy and putting like millions of dollars on the line. There's got to be more than goodbye, because not only is it goodbye, but you potentially like ruin part of my company's plan to make money.
You're blacklisted.
It's not like that's not even like. The amount of money he might end up costing a company, it's not just the payment, it's not just like his salary.
So so what you're saying is he should be sued for that money.
Yes.
There should be like, I mean, I don't think there is grounds for
compensation,
but there should be, like, I mean, you'd think if someone's gonna not only run you their salary of whatever it was, millions of dollars, they're also going to make you lose tens of millions of dollars, potentially be the start to the end of your company.
I mean, there is a lot of people, and Sean Ross Sapp, who, he's gotten better. I still think he's a douchebag, but
I think he's a fucking slime ball, that guy.
They are thinking of firing him. Right now,
nothing's been made official yet.
Nothing's been made official, but I don't think you can't go. Did you see the interview?
I watched the whole thing 3 times, actually.
He sat down, opened up his can of whatever the bubbly or whatever the fuck he was drinking, and his fucking cookies or whatever the fuck he was eating. And he said, started going off on his tirade, and Tony Khan, who I will give a little bit of credit to him, trying to say that's on me, this, that, and the other thing, I should have fucking managed it better, and CM Punk, that's not your fucking job. The fuck, it's not his job. He owns the fucking thing.
Tony Khan got totally lambasted, man. There's zero chance. He was like, every time he tried to say something, it just sounded like the timid, abused wife is what he sounded like.
Jurgen, to answer your question in the chat, no, that has always been, if I ever got myself a replica championship belt, the NWA World's Heavyweight is my favorite, and I would get that for sure. And sorry, Alpha, it's probably because I had my microphone set up in a different position, so I will fix that.
I don't know what might be causing.
I'm not getting
my headset's been acting weird recently, though. So
my mic's been kind of off too, but no, that's on my wish list, is the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship.
Love that title. That is one of my favorite. That is my absolute. It's my title.
Yep.
It's the GM mode. That's the title I use.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite.
That title had meaning behind it.
Mm-hmm. What was I gonna say about the Punk thing? So I looked through the reports, and I looked through the people claiming different things. So apparently there was a big altercation after the scrum. So supposedly the Bucks and Kenny Omega went right to CM Punk's locker room.
Well, CM Punk, before you go any further, CM Punk did say, "Come talk to me." So,
yep, Punk didn't
answer. Motherfucker, you want to talk? Let's talk.
So this is where disputes and things kind of go from here. Someone said they broke down the door, which that's conflicted in terms of whether or not they actually broke it down versus whether they let themselves in, or whatever the case may be. Ace Steel, who's a producer and he's a friend of Punk's, who was also in the locker room with them, was also Ace Steel's wife was also there with their dog, and so when they came bursting in, Ace Steel kind of had a short temper fuse, and things got escalated quickly. Ace Steel apparently, I shit you not, bit Kenny Omega on the hand, and Nick Jackson got punched in the face by Punk. Punk apparently re-injured himself during this altercation, But the point is that like the Bucks and Omega did not start like the physical altercation. Again, everything I'm saying is absolutely 100% speculation because no one knows anything for sure. I did hear that obviously the plans for tonight's Dynamite have been changed drastically due to this. The biggest being that Jericho and Moxley were not scheduled to be on the show. They are going to be there. So they're probably going to, rewrite and rechange things around. I mean, he's got to go. He's got to
go, man. I said it. The guy is a cancer.
Send the Fire Punk. Send the Bucks and Kenny Omega away on like a suspension.
They just won the trios titles.
Yep.
So they should be punished as well.
Suspend them.
I don't understand. Like Punk, you'd think like at least in some cases you look at some of these guys like Moxley, like whatever, he's all fucked up, but he was an alcoholic and he needed help. Punk is like the straight edge, but like the worst, seemingly one of the worst fucking douchebags alive. I just don't understand how you can be such a fucking cunt.
I mean, you seen my post in there. I said it. The guy.
He just seems so like. I mean, if everything now like just shines a different light on everything I've seen him do and say, and it's all like taken now in a much worse way. Which is the way I think it was supposed to be intended, I guess. But
my issue with him was part of what, like this, the pipe bomb. That's all he's good for. He wants to shit on the company if he doesn't get his way. My issue with him, my huge issue with him was he said, "Fuck you" to the fans. You are all nothing more than marks and fucking. I'm like, well, guess what? I will not fucking support you. I never fucking will again. I don't give a shit if you apologize, and I stand by it. I do not care about CM Punk.
See, the problem with like that is if MJF attacks the fan base, I'm more akin to think it's character. I mean, he might be a complete douchebag, yes, but at least like he's tried and true with his character. Like I understand he is that. Where Punk has been like a lot more manipulative to his fan base to get what he wants when he wants. He's like, man, I'm surprised he's not like a fucking abusive in every other part of his life. Because he seems to be that way when it's like, I'm gonna get what I want when I want, how I want.
You're about to die.
He is.
Anyway, back to the cat. Oh, no, the cat!
No, not B12. He's the only thing I care for in my life.
What level are you on?
I am at control room.
You've got to because
I think you're at the end. This is what happens to all robots. They go to robot heaven.
Control room's the final.
No, carry him around still.
Carry on, why? You just cough a hairball up on him.
What happened to your backpack?
Let me enter you.
Greetings, inhabitant.
That is the end of the game.
Next to the robot.
I'm the ghost, the goistest with the moistest.
Supposed to.
Is this like, are you fucking terraforming the planet or something?
Looks like it.
Yeah, something like that. It was. People went underground because of a plague that was going on. Now all the humans are gone. It's just the robots and these.
What about these fleshlight
temple
things?
fucking.
Maybe we'll never know what they are. They're gonna burn
die.
up in the sun. Yep.
Yep.
No! They were my prodigy.
Prodigy?
Well, I was gonna say, there's a human.
Nope. It's an iPad.
Close. Did you just say it's an iDad?
He said it's an iPad.
Welcome to iDad. Oh, this one's English, obviously. Part of the Peaky Blinders.
You know why they call the old one Granny Smith?
Well, you know.
Because she's an apple? Hey, yours was better.
Just stay here forever with your robot friend.
I think that's going to be the case.
I have to shit.
Your cat has not eaten once, so.
He eats a couple of times.
And he's like rubbed his claws on a bunch of electrical wires, so I'm pretty sure he's a robot as well.
Oh, my ass! Oh, never mind. It just instantly shot up from that.
Vikings Raider. What the fuck is it? Vikings? Where the fuck did you get it?
No, I can't touch them anymore.
Oh, they're all dead. Yeah, you're just a cat now. So sad. It's just like a big oven, and they burn you alive.
And then watch you step out there and disintegrate. Game over.
No, you're gonna meet your cat friends. And they're gonna be like, "What's up, pussy?"
Or not.
That's the end of
This is
game.
This is Meowster. This is Power of Meow.
It's Meow Mix, baby. And you start rapping.
This is Jeffrey.
Felix, the feline.
This is Fat Pussy.
Pussy.
Okay. WAP for short.
Yeah, I think we finally got to the end.
He's masturbating.
I'm doing it wrong then.
A snake just comes
By
up.
sniffing.
The only cat alive.
Game over. The only thing cats are allergic to: fresh air. Game over.
A wolf just comes in and fucking snaps him in
That would
two.
be awesome.
Yeah, this is the final
That's
scene
the
actually.
So the robots still live underground. I guess you joined your cat
I don't
friends.
know.
There's going to be a sequel with that right there.
Is it called Spade instead of Stayed?
I don't know if I like the end.
I mean, what did you expect?
Leave it open-ended and have... I haven't seen the whole game.
I was going to say, isn't this the only stream you've been on, JP, for this game?
Yes.
You know what
Was
should
here
have
at the
happened?
beginning of it.
You stayed for like 5 minutes, said fuck this, I'm out.
This should have like been the ending, but as soon as like as the camera's panning away, animal control pulls up and just puts him in a cage and drives away. It's like, oh my god, there are humans and they still have animal control.
It pans out his eyeball and it realizes he's been getting rabies. He's foaming at the mouth.
Yep.
My life in a second.
No, but with those machines popping on there towards the end there's gonna be a sequel. They can't leave it like that.
They left it like that.
They did.
Yeah, what did you call it? Strayed?
Stray.
No.
Basement. Basement.
Mhm.
I was walking down the road and I first got hit by a violin and then a clarinet and then finally a piano. It was an orchestrated attack.
I hate your guts.
Yeah, that was good.
I'm just waiting to see if there's any after credit thing, but so yeah, that's Stray. We're finally done.
It has been completed.
I gotta say, for as simple of a game as it was, as far as design and the storytelling goes, it's not bad.
I mean, I'm sure there's like a lot of storytelling too that was like missed, because even when I looked up like the walkthrough for one part, there was like, yeah, if you find this, you find a secret about this little girl. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah,
little girl.
Lore.
You gotta go around and find those remember spots. I'll play through it again, see if we get a different ending offline. If I get a different ending, but yeah.
A basement.
You get a different.
No.
I don't know, just to see if we.
So I was on a plane and I saw that this guy in the cockpit was drinking hot chocolate. Turned out he was the Coco pilot.
That is terrible. That is absolute ass.
Yeah, yep. Alright, let's see what else I can find here.
Booty cheeks clapping. Sounds like Stray. No, I didn't think that, and I don't think you're gonna get a separate ending. It seemed like the one ending for the game, but you might find a lot of additional
to add more to the story. Yeah,
world building stuff.
Either that, or you're gonna get a second game.
Yeah, I think a sequel would make more sense. All right, last one, basement. I saw a wind turbine that wasn't working.
Oh, here it is.
It was definitely a no wind situation.
That is bad. Man. That's not even like.
I can hear you smiling over your camera, right?
It's like not even that clever. It's a no wind. Yeah, come on.
You know what we should do on a stream is just tell stupid bad jokes. Stupid dad jokes.
Oh, fuck.
That would be a no wind situation, JB.
Yep.
It would be.
See, it is funny. You got them to laugh at it. Sarcastically.
Yeah, with that being said, we will be back tomorrow with I don't know what yet. So we'll see. But now that I am done with this, Connor, do you want to reveal your surprise now, or do you want to wait?
Well,
he's pregnant.
He's pregnant.
It's pregnant. I'll wait. I'll wait till the surprise. But
okay.
It might be next Tuesday. It might be next Thursday. It'll be sometime next week. We'll start another gameplay of some
Jeanette?
Pregnant.
Alright. So with that being said, join us tomorrow for our group game night, and then Friday for GM mode, and then Saturday for No Bugs Given. Everybody have a good night, and we'll see you then.
Good night,
situation.
Basement.